But the story that we are breaking this evening is a shocker. It's coming on Air India's flight where blocked toilets have forced an Air India flight diversion of an international airline. That's right, Air India 126 on March 5th was diverted back to Chicago. Air India says polythene bags, rags, clothes were flushed down. Air India claims the toilets became unserviceable. Social media storm has forced Air India to admit to the lapses. Earlier, Air India had said technical reasons, but there are several questions that have been unanswered by what's happened on that Air India flight. Joining me now at the very top of the news is our Bangalore Bureau Chief, Nagarjun Dwarkanath. He is a trained pilot, I can tell you. Nagarjun, what we are hearing is shocking, even by Air India's past standards. Within an hour of 45 minutes of the flight taking off from Chicago, the toilets were reportedly 8 of the 12 got clogged and the flight came back. Is that possible? Is that really possible that blankets and other material were being stuffed down, or is there a maintenance problem that we are not being told about?
Rajdeep, usually what happens is the passengers end up blaming the pilots usually for any mishaps or the airline for bad services. For an international flight from Chicago to Delhi, which takes around 17 to 16 hours, I don't think so that the technical officers there or the technicians at the ground at Chicago airport cleared the aircraft for departure with clogged drains. In this particular instance, it's most likely that it was the passengers who have flushed down polythene bags and clothes down the vacuum of the toilet, and hence the clogging of the drains that happened. Usually in the Boeing 777 aircraft, which is a large body aircraft carrying over 300 passengers, they have at least 8 to 12 toilets, depending on the custom make of each airline. What has happened is here, one of the passengers has flushed polythene bags during the flight, as well as clothes, and hence the whole central system of the drain or the toilets have been blocked. This could have been realized only after the flight diverted back to Chicago, because when the passengers started creating ruckus, shouting at the cabin crew that only one toilet was accessible for 300 odd passengers, and that too was in the business cabin chamber. So all the economy passengers had to travel to business section, use the toilet and come back. After a certain point, 300 people, one toilet could become too much, and there was hygiene issues. The passengers were not maintaining hygiene. In this particular instance, at least.
Could this be sabotage, as some are suggesting? Could this have been deliberate sabotage? Within an hour and 45 minutes, the toilets get clogged?
This could be a sabotage, as well as, or plainly to put that it's bad civic sense of passengers, or if these are the two options, we'll have to believe the airline at this point of time, because it's unlikely that an international aircraft is clear to take off with clogged drains. Me being a pilot, most likely the checks are done thoroughly to make sure at least the drains are working. In this aspect, at least most likely the passengers have flushed polythene bags and clothes, and we will have to believe the airline.
Right. Okay. Nagarjun Dwarkanath joining me there. I want to go now to Jitendra Bhargava, former executive director at Air India. Mr. Bhargava, Air India has had experiences in the past that have damaged the airline's reputation, now taken over by Tatas. Here comes an instance which confirms some of the worst fears that people have, that some things haven't changed. Now you could blame the public, the passengers, you could blame airline maintenance. Whom do you blame?
But Rajdeep, let's look at the reality. What has happened is unfortunate, both from the passenger's perspective and from the airline's perspective. No airline would like to go through such kind of a situation. It not only mars the image of an airline, as you are very rightly saying, that prior to the cargo takeover and now nothing appears to be changed. The reality is, what do we do about it? And Air India has done the right thing of putting in public domain what they got out of the toilets. Now, how can an airline...
How do 8 out of 12 lavatories get unserviceable in 1 hour 45 minutes? That seems prima facie to be perplexing.
These are high-tech toilets. Vacuum air suction flush system is there. So when you have one toilet, it gets there, number one. Number two, all toilets are subjected to checks once in 30 days because they're high-tech toilets. Now, Air India has been doing it, and this is more frequent than what most other airlines do. So there is something to be done looking at the airline passengers' behavior, number one. I'm not saying that everybody does it. A few people may have done it, whether it's an act of mischief or it has been inadvertently done without realizing the consequences of it. Now, this is what one has to look at. And you say you've got to give credit to Air India today that, look, they could have pushed it under the carpet and said, look, we are sorry about it. The matter ends there. But what is unfortunate is this kind of an incident has happened twice in 4 days. The second incident has not been in public domain. Now, question is, this is what lends it to the conclusion that it's probably an act of mischief. Somebody is deliberately doing it. Now,
do you fear that? Do you fear that?
Take it to the logical end.
Do you fear that someone's done an act of mischief? Because while you say Air India has come clean, the fact is that Air India first said that the flight was diverted back for technical reasons. Then there was a social media storm. Some passengers and others put out details. That's when Air India admitted that it was clogging of toilets. Now, do you see it as an act of mischief? Are you saying it could be sabotage? Or does it reflect the very poor hygienic sense of the passengers on the aircraft?
No,
or Air India's maintenance standards?
Citing technical reasons covers every aspect of the aircraft operation. They may have put this out in public domain that it was diverted or returned to Chicago because of this. The second point is, look at the constraints. The flight is into the air. Now you can't proceed to London or Europe for that matter because it's night curfew there. So the only option for the pilot was to return to Chicago. And they did. They carried out investigation. As I said earlier, it's not only disappointing, unfortunate, tragic from the passenger's perspective, equally so from the management's perspective. Now, what will an airline do? They will only hope. And in all toilets, I can remember, it's very clearly written, please do not throw anything into the toilet. You must have noticed this as well. Now, if somebody is disregarding it, something needs to be done seriously. Now, if it's just pure mischief, some people have played into the game, etc. Well, one can pass on that it will probably not be repeated again once the airline becomes more vigilant in doing it. Now, question is, can the cabin crew monitor the toilets? Who's spending so much time inside it? But then all people will say, well, you are pervading into our privacy and all those kind of things come in. Now, something has to be done.
No, something has to be done, but when... but you say when things like blankets and others are found in the toilet, then there are question marks there. I mean, surely that's not what people would be throwing down a toilet.
No, Rajdeep, let me share here. I am not saying you can conclude at this juncture that it's after a plane has taken off. Possibility, when the aircraft is on ground for 4 or 5 hours at Chicago airport, did somebody did mischief at that point? Now, Air India needs to get into in great detail and say, look, where it happened. And today, with video technology being there at the airport, they can say, all right, somebody did enter the aircraft, somebody did do this kind of a thing to look at it. But it's a clear act of mischievous. You cannot have the kind of items that Air India described in the press release, that these were the items found in the toilets.
Are you sure it's not a mental? Are you sure it is not an act of negligence? You say mischief. Could it be negligence by the airline?
No, tell me, Rajdeep, let's put it this way. How do we come to the conclusion of negligence here? Will some staff member do it? Will the airline do it? Look at the consequences for an airline. Plane has to go back, you burnt precious fuel, you provided hotel accommodation to the passengers and yet earned a bad name for yourself. Now, they need to be more vigilant. If there is a scope of negligence, they need to mitigate it, see to it is not there. But something serious needs to be done. My suggestion to Air India is go deep into this mischief. If you allege it is mischief, go deep into it. Hold people responsible for it. And perhaps this subjecting the toilet to check, make it a little more frequent. Even if you are above the normal industry standards, do it more. Maybe the profile of passengers, something has gone wrong, but you can't have a news report coming or be hitting the headlines for the wrong reasons. Whether it's your making or somebody else is making. This must end.
Let me leave it there.
People have expectations that once the government ownership is gone, our expectations are sky high and we want the changes to come in as early as possible. And as one who articulated for disinvestment for the last 20 years, I feel sorry at times, but then I know the kind of challenges that Air India has at the moment. Expansion is going on, the kind of number of aircraft which were on ground at the time of disinvestment which have been put in the air, building up a management team. So a whole lot of jobs were there. And to view
Let me leave it there, sir. Mr. Bhargava, I'm going to leave it there. I think you've raised several issues.
You take Air India disinvestment as a 5-day test and not like a T20 match. And that's,
Okay.
I'll conclude on this note.
Let me leave it there, Mr. Bhargava. I appreciate your joining us. The anger, outrage being expressed is a sign that we expected better from Air India post disinvestment, but some things, it seems, haven't changed. Could it be an act of mischief? That needs to be investigated. If so, it is still completely unacceptable. Let's turn to the other news story of the day that's making the headlines. The language war between the centre and the Tamil Nadu government continues to escalate, and today it reached Parliament, which resumed its budget session. Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan found himself in a face-off with the DMK MPs over the Tamil Nadu government's refusal to implement the National Education Policy's 3-language policy. The minister called the DMK uncivilized and undemocratic and later on apologized for those words. The DMK is planning to move a privilege motion against the minister, who, as I said, has withdrawn his comments. Listen in.
They are not committed to Tamil Nadu students. They are ruining the future of Tamil Nadu students. Their only job is to raise language passion. They are doing politics. They are doing mischief. This is unfortunate in the federal state. They can't allegations put allegations against government of India. They are misleading nation. They are doing injustice. They are doing injustice to students of Tamil Nadu. They are ruining the future of Tamil Nadu students. They are not doing justice. They are undemocratic, uncivilized. They are devouring the right of Tamil Nadu students to have a pan-Indian education model.
Very pained and hurt that the minister, in his reply in Parliament today, has called the members of Parliament, the Tamil Nadu government and the people of Tamil Nadu uncivilized. The minister from Tamil Nadu also was there in the delegation, and we had clearly said that we have issues with the NEP. We cannot accept it in full because 3-language policy is not acceptable to Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
And sir, the truth is, the CM of Tamil Nadu has written to the minister and the Prime Minister saying that we have issues with the NEP, it cannot be accepted in total.
We'll wait and see how that showdown plays down, but let's stay with what's been happening across state assemblies as well, because today was the day when Maharashtra brought out its budget. All eyes for the 2025-26 budget, Ajit Pawar's 11th, were as to how will the government balance its budget. Remember, the Ladki Bahin scheme was the government's big ticket to come back to power in November last year. The Mahayuti had promised to raise the payout from 1,500 rupees to women below the poverty line to 2,100. Instead, what's happened? The outlay on Ladki Bahin has come down from 46,000 crores to 36,000 crores, and there will be no hike as was promised before the election. Not surprising, because the Maharashtra government has a huge debt at the moment. The Ladki Bahin scheme was the brainchild of the previous Eknath Shinde government. So ahead of elections, the government had promised to increase the amount given to more than 2 crore beneficiaries to 2,100. Post-election, fiscal prudence matters. And now suddenly the government says, we're not raising the money. Listening to what Ajit Pawar had to say and what the same government said just 3 or 4 months ago.
माझं एक उदाहरण दाखवा जाहीरनामा मला एकच मिनिट मला वाद घालू नका मला जाहीरनामा दाखवा आम्ही सांगितलेलं होतं पुढे सरकार आमचं आल्यानंतर आम्ही ह्याच्यामध्ये त्या ठिकाणी वाढ करू आता आमचं सरकार आलेलं आहे पहिल्यांदा आम्हाला आर्थिक शिस्त लावायची होती ती आर्थिक शिस्त लावण्याचं काम आणि वित्तीय निर्देशांक जे ठरवून दिलेले त्याच्यामध्ये यत्किंचितही बाजूला न जाण्याचं काम आम्ही केलेलं आहे ज्या योजना आम्ही दिलेल्या होत्या वीज माफीची आणि आमच्या लाडक्या बहिणीची त्या योजनांना पण भरीव अशा प्रकारची तरतूद आम्ही अर्थसंकल्पामध्ये केलेली आहे आता विरोधक तर आधी म्हणत होते हे सत्तेवर आल्यानंतर पुन्हा या योजना बंद करतील तुम्हाला आठवत आहे मागे सुशीलकुमार शिंदे मुख्यमंत्री असताना त्यांनी वीज माफीचा निर्णय घेतला आणि नंतर जे मुख्यमंत्री झाले महाविकास आघाडीमध्ये त्यांनी ती योजना बंद केली
लाडक्या बहिणींना पुढच्या काळामध्ये 1500च्या ऐवजी 2100 रुपये देण्याचा आमचा संकल्प आहे. शेतकऱ्यांची कर्जमाफी करण्याचा आमचा संकल्प आहे, कारण शेतकऱ्यांना आम्ही ऑलरेडी मोफत वीज दिलेली आहे, पण शेतकऱ्यांची कर्जमाफी आम्ही करतो आहोत. आणि त्यासोबत आम्ही भावांतर योजना आणतो आहोत. म्हणजे हमी भावापेक्षा जर कमी भावामध्ये मार्केटची खरेदी सुरू झाली तर हमी भावाने खरेदी तर करूच, पण ज्या ठिकाणी हमी भावाने खरेदी होणार नाही त्या ठिकाणी भावांतर योजना राबवून जो काही मधला डिफरन्स आहे तो थेट शेतकऱ्याच्या खात्यामध्ये टाकण्याचा निर्णय आम्ही घेतलेला आहे.
So is there a difference between how our politicians act before an election and after? Maharashtra may well provide the classic example. Sahil Joshi, our Mumbai bureau chief, joins us. Sahil, it seems that the Maharashtra government is finally recognizing some of the pressures it is under. Huge financial debt that continues to rise. Now the government seems to have decided, at least for now, we are not raising the Ladki Bahin from 1,500 rupees per month to 2,100. Clearly, one thing before elections and one thing after. What's the reasoning being given?
Well, right now there is no reason being given at this point of time, because there seems to be no reason at all. Everybody knew since the time that the scheme was implemented that it's going to be really heavy on the state's exchequer, and they already knew that it is going to have an additional burden on the treasury. The way the debt is rising at this point of time, the Maharashtra's debt with respect to the GSDP is almost 18%, though it is below the permissible level of 25%. The state government knew already that it's definitely going to have an impact on the government spending on various projects in Maharashtra. So that is the reason why the high point of the budget which was presented in June, which is not a full budget, but the high point was, of course, the Ladli Bahina scheme, the Ladki Bahin scheme, and also the other schemes which were part of the election manifesto. In today's budget, there was no flagship scheme which was announced. Even the allocation for the Ladki Bahin scheme, which was 45,000 crore rupees from June to April to March to April 2025. Even that allocation has been reduced to almost 35,000, almost 10,000 crore drop in that allocation as well. So now the government is saying that yes, we have promised 2,100 rupees, but we haven't told you whether we are going to do it immediately in the coming budget or not. So they are trying to take a kind of a different route altogether. Now the government is saying that, you know, we want to sustain this scheme. So first we want to understand whether all the 2.37 crore women who have been benefited from this scheme, whether they are actually beneficiaries, or there needs to be some kind of scrutiny of the beneficiaries, whether actually the right people have got the benefits from the scheme or not. So it's very clear now that 2,100 rupees is a far ahead dream for the women who were actually looking forward to the budget, that 600 rupees will be added to the kitty of 1,500 rupees. That is not going to happen for sure.
Okay, so Maharashtra clearly facing certain financial realities, very different, as I said, life for most of our governments. BJP-led Maharashtra, Congress-led Karnataka and Telangana, life is very different before elections and after elections. Let's turn from there to our next big story, which is coming from Karnataka, where the probe into the Karnataka gold smuggling case has intensified. The case involving an actor, Ramya's political links, including to Congress ministers and also now to a former BJP Chief Minister Basavarao Bommai, have come under the scanner. The actress is claiming she was trapped into smuggling. Remember, she was found at the Bangalore airport with gold bars strapped around her. And as per her statement to the police last week, she has admitted that she was in possession of 17 gold bars when she was held by the DRI. Rania Rao's investigations are revealing every day new angles and putting the Karnataka government both and the opposition on the back foot. Sagai Raj now joins me. Sagai, today there is a revelation that Rania, her company that she set up, had been given large tracts of land by the previous Basavarao Bommai government. BJP is claiming that the Congress is trying to hide the entire scam. What are we finding? Did Rania Rao have major political connections that are slowly coming out?
The DRI, which has seized her electronic devices, whether it is a laptop or mobile phone, they have discovered that there are plenty of contacts, especially politicians as well as police officers in that particular devices. And they have seized all those devices, and they are trying to verify whether she was in contact with them on a regular basis. And meanwhile, when they had interrogated her, they had enough evidence to prove that she had contact. But she distanced herself and she did not answer. Even in the court, DRI counsel had categorically mentioned that she's not cooperating in the investigation when it comes to specific questions with the evidences. For an example, they have evidence of she calling so-and-so person. They have evidence of to prove that she has traveled with so-and-so person. When they show that and ask her what you have to say about that, she's not revealing, she's not cooperating. And the DRI says that she's not cooperating in the entire investigation. But they feel that once they get more evidence, they have already summoned few people. Once they get more evidence, they will be able to establish the nexus and the syndicate which is operating this entire gold smuggling racket.
No, but it's not just the gold smuggling racket. As I said, reports are coming in that a company which she apparently was part owner had been given large tracts of land in Tumkur when Basavaraj Bommai was the chief minister. So clearly she had influential connections.
Absolutely, because that particular company that she claims that she owns, she registered in the year 2022. Within 9 months after a registration with a proposal, a 12-acre of land of kiadb has been allotted to her. Remember, there are a lot of companies, thousands, lakhs of companies who apply for this particular kiadb land, but still nobody gets that land in that short notice. For an example, they have to wait for 4 or 5 years. But within 9 months of time, the land gets allotted. When the question asked to Basavaraj Bommai, the former chief minister, he says that he doesn't involve in these kind of allotment. It is the minister who have allocated, and probably she has fulfilled all the criteria of what is required for that particular land, and that is the reason they have allocated. But the BJP says that when she landed in Bengaluru, on the day when she got caught, she made a telephone call.
Sagai, I have to cut you short because of audio glitches. We'll try and get those right. But clearly what it shows is Rania has a wide network which could include politicians. Remember, her stepfather is a DGP of police. Is this just a gold smuggling racket, or is it much more than that? Hopefully the investigations will reveal more. And joining me now is Sunil Gavaskar. We are going to raise that big question, is this the best ODI team? And we'll also have our selection of India's best ever ODI team. Mr. Gavaskar, this Indian team has won 22 of their last 23 completed ICC white ball matches. Is this, in your view, the best ever Indian ODI team, white ball team?
This is the best team, white ball team in the world at the moment. Over the last couple of years, definitely. I'm very, very reluctant to compare, players and teams of different eras and different generations, because all the playing conditions, everything's different. The 1983 team that won the first World Cup played with a red ball and with no field restrictions. None of the 2 fielders outside, 3 fielders outside. None of that. Bouncers were freely allowed. The 2011 team was also playing under different conditions. So it's very difficult to compare teams. Like I said, this is the best team over the last 2 or 3 years in the white ball game. This Indian team is the best in the last couple of years because their performances say that. You just mentioned 22 out of 23 games that they won. That just tells you how dominant they have been.
What for you, Mr. Gavaskar, has been the standout aspect of this team that makes it really such a match-winning side?
The all-round strength. The all-round strength of this team, where the batting order could be shuffled by the captain. The bowling options were such that the bowlers could be brought on at different times, different ends, depending on who the batter was, left hand, right hand, depending on what the size of the boundary on either side was, depending on where the breeze was coming from. So those options that the captain had was terrific. But then the captain had to utilize the strengths that he had in the ideal manner. And that is what was also the difference. The captain was superb in the way he handled his bowlers, the way he shuffled the batting order up and down, the field placing, the bowling changes, everything was absolutely top class. So that was the difference, the all-round strength and the captaincy, which was not quite seen in other teams.
Interesting the way you're appraising Rohit Sharma's captaincy, but how much of a difference, Mr. Gavaskar, at the end of the day, did playing in Dubai make? Playing on slow spinning surfaces with a spin quartet?
It was not a question of playing in Dubai or anywhere else. It's a question of playing good cricket, and that's what this Indian team did. Even if they had to play on different surfaces, they would have been able to do that. When you win 22, like you've just said, 22 out of 23 matches played in different conditions. Only 5 matches have been played in Dubai out of the 22 that have been won. The other 17 matches have been played elsewhere, different pitches, different conditions. So that actually tells you that if they had to play anywhere else, the result would still have been the same. India would still have been the champions.
What for you was the turning point, though, in that final against New Zealand? Almost went to the wire, but when did that match turn?
Possibly the wicket of Rachin Ravindra, because he was batting so well. Kuldeep Yadav getting him out first ball was the reason why the Kiwi slowed down. Then in the next over, Kuldeep getting Kane Williams and another heavy scorer in the tournament, Cotton Bowl. That also was a big turning point. Otherwise, New Zealand could have ended up with maybe 280, 290. If both these, informed batters had stitched together a partnership.
Is there any player you want to single out in this Indian team for special praise, Mr. Gavaskar?
I'd single out Kuldeep Yadav because, sometimes he goes under the radar. He picks wickets for you. I'll also look at KL Rahul. He kept wickets superbly. And when needed, when he came into bat, he batted in a very positive manner. A couple of sixes that he hit in both the semis as well in the final. Absolutely top-class batting. So these are the two players I would certainly look at.
Just a final question. Do you think Rohit Sharma should now step aside from red ball cricket, just focus on white ball and probably hope to lift the 2027 World Cup?
That is for Ajit Agarkar and his selection committee to decide, not for me.
Sunil Gavaskar leaving that ball outside the off stump with that last question. I was speaking to him earlier. He was in Dubai. I want to widen that now to two people who've tracked cricket over the years. Shishir Atangdi is former Mumbai captain. And I want to go to Ayaz Memon, veteran sports and cricket commentator and analyst and journalist. I appreciate both Shishir and Ayaz joining me. Let's turn and look at that question. Is this the best ODI team ever? Shishir, why don't you take that first? Is this the best ODI team ever in your view that India has put up on a cricket field?
In my view, Rajdeep, yes. I'm not going by the changes in the rules, the conditions, the 60 over to 50 over, all those things taken into consideration. I mean, this team actually looks a team without any crevice. And of course, the way that they've played, very often you pick the best team, but on the given day or in a given tournament, they may not strike good form. And that's where the problems start. But in this case, I think they've picked the best team for a tournament and the players have struck form. And off the field, I think the captain and the coach have been very smart. They've picked players given good positions. KL Rahul's position was a very crucial position because every time he came in, he had to play with a cool head. He had to maneuver the strike and make sure he took India home. Also, just using him ahead of Rishabh Pant was a bold move. Then again, you had the spinners, 4 spinners in a one-day team. Never happened before. So, they've picked teams. They've taken Varun Chakravarti coming in out of the blue and, creating those wickets and those breaking those partnerships. So I think, in my view, this would be, in my view, the best team I have seen perform for India. And I'm taking into consideration 1983, 2011, and all those teams that have got us so much glory.
Let's take that to you, Ayaz, because you were there at 83 World Cup final. I was also there on that memorable day at Lord's. Then you had 2011 and the Wankhede Dhoni's men. And now you have Rohit Sharma's men reaching the World Cup final, winning the Champions Trophy, winning the World T20. Which is the best of the three teams?
Well, I'm inclined to go with the current one, and I'll tell you why. I think the one which really competes with this current team is the one which actually won the 1983 World Cup, then it won the Asia Cup in 1984, then it won the World Championship of Cricket in 1985 in Australia. And remember, they also finished in the semi-final in the 1987 World Cup. That team had a lot of balance, stalwarts, Kapil Dev, Gavaskar, Mohinder Amarnath, Vengsarkar, Shastri, and so on and so forth. But this team, current one, and there was also Dhoni's team, 2011 World Champions, 2013 Champions Trophy winners, also, flush with talent. This current team has an abundance of talent and flair and, and multiple options for each position. You had 4 spinners, as Shishir mentioned, 3 of them were left-arm spinners, and you could leave out one or leave out none. That was the strength of the team. You have multiple fast bowling options and also a batting order which is very flexible, which didn't exist in the past. This is the team which has looked capable of winning everywhere that it has played or anywhere it has played. So I would go with this current one. I think we've had a golden run over the last couple of years in white ball cricket, barring, of course, that heartbreaking defeat to Australia in the ODI World Cup final in 2023.
Is it in a sense, Shishir, that because we are also the big boss of world cricket with the IPL, the biggest tournament, white ball cricket has now got so much of prominence that all these young players are coming with the attitude that white ball cricket brings, a certain flair and fearlessness. We're seeing it in the T20 game, and we are now seeing it being transposed to the 50-over game as well. Is that the big difference between now and in the past when cricketers were raised on red ball games?
You made pertinent points, Rajdeep, but the biggest point is financial security. I mean, imagine you have enough money to feel financially secure to play a game fearlessly. I mean, if you didn't have the financial security, fearlessness may have been difficult. So I think a lot to do with the IPL, the experience of playing international cricket in a domestic tournament, but also the financial benefits that have come that have made cricketers feel a little secure that, this is a profession that I can go out and, express myself, which may be a cliched word, but fearlessly. And that is something that we've seen, the flair, the versatility, the fearlessness with which they've played the game. I mean, look at Rohit Sharma for starters. He's gone there with a plan. It's not come off all the time. Some purists like us, old-timers like us would say, he's thrown his wicket away after, doing the hard work. But his job as an opening batsman was to give them those starts and, sort of break open the game for them. And he's done it. And, of course, the other batsmen have supported him.
Ayaz, is that the big difference you see? Because these players who've emerged now, the likes of Hardik Pandya, for example, are made for white ball cricket. And that has given us an extra edge. Michael Vaughan says you could have 2 Indian teams today. 22 players who could take on the world.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, even what Shishir is saying, the security, the financial security that you get because of the IPL and the fact that the Indian Cricket Board is so rich is a tremendous kind of boost for Indian cricket. But I'll add one more dimension to this, Rajdeep, which is the internal rivalry amongst players to get into the Indian team. It has just made everybody lift their standard of play. I mean, in this Champions Trophy, Rishabh Pant, the highest paid cricketer in the IPL, cannot make it to the playing 11. The team management chose to go with KL Rahul as their wicketkeeper batsman. So that is the level of competition. Even people like, Pant or KL Rahul or some of the fast bowlers, the spinners, the top order batsmen, nobody can take his place for granted. There are 3 or 4 options available for the selectors and for the team management in case you don't measure up. So I think that has really raised the standard of Indian cricket.
Okay, what we are going to do now is Shishir, Ayaz and me are going to choose our all-time India 11 ODI. Basically, out of these 3 great sides, the Kapil Dev side, the side of Mahendra Singh Dhoni and the side of Rohit Sharma. I'm going to start with you, Shishir Atangdi. I'm going to read out your 11, or you can read it out. Why don't you go ahead and tell us who is your all-time India ODI 11? White ball, World Cup winners.
You gave me a tough job, Rajdeep, but, I'm not I should have had 2 or 3 days to pick it, but you can read it out. I mean, I'm going with Rohit Sharma as captain. For me, he's obviously the opening batsman and the captain.
Okay.
I don't have all the names, but you can read them out. I think Sachin comes
I'll
number
go
2.
with them then. And then you can give them Sachin Tendulkar, he's chosen at number 2. Virat Kohli at number 3. Mohinder Amarnath is your choice at number 4. Yuvraj Singh is your 5th choice. Suresh Raina is your 6th choice. MS Dhoni 7th. Kapil Dev, Anil Kumble, Ravindra Jadeja. On the board, of course, I see Varun Chakravarti and Hardik Pandya also in your 11. You've replaced, in a sense, Kumble and Mohinder Amarnath with the 2. Am I correct? So you're going with Hardik and Chakravarti?
Yeah, I replaced them because Rajdeep Anil didn't qualify for this because
because he didn't win a World Cup.
That's right. So I had to make a change, and I thought I'll bring in the X factor of Varun because he's been a mystery bowler actually, and I'm saying it's early days for him, but India and the Indian team needs somebody like him to be able to create those breakthroughs in a 50-over game, which can get boring actually. And he looks like he's going to pick a wicket every time he bowls, so he's in my side.
There's a bit of recency bias, if I may say so, in choosing Varun Chakravarti in an all-time India ODI 11. I would say that still has some way to go, but fair enough, that's your choice. Ayaz Memon, should I read out your names and then you can tell me why you've chosen them? You've also got Sachin Tendulkar and Rohit Sharma at the top. You've got Virat Kohli at 3. You've got Saurav Ganguly at 4. Saurav would not qualify in some sides because, of course...
No, Rajdeep...
Yes, go ahead. You want to list your name?
I've had Amarnath at number 4.
You've had...
I'll tell you what my 11 is. It's Sachin and Rohit. Sachin, Rohit, Kohli. I've also got Amarnath like Shishir has. I've got Yuvraj Singh. I've got MS Dhoni, Kapil Dev. I've got Kapil Dev as captain, incidentally, not Dhoni or Rohit. And I'll tell you why very shortly. I've got Jadeja. I've got Ashwin. I've got Zahir Khan. And I've got, I was told that I could include Jasprit Bumrah, so I've got him there.
Yes, you can.
Because,
he's won a world title.
He's not won a title. He's not been part of a winning team. Yeah, he's won a world title, so he's also part of the team. But Kapil Dev, yes, World T20.
So we've got to replace, we've got to tell our graphics to replace Dhoni with Kapil. Okay, so you've got Kapil as your captain, not Dhoni.
Yes.
Why is that?
The reason being that, it was a breakthrough victory for India. It was a breakthrough victory for India, that winning that World Cup. It just completely redefined not just Indian cricket, but international cricket. It just completely redefined the sport. India becoming a major power. Before that, we had lost badly in 2 previous World Cups. Playing one of the greatest knocks ever seen, in my opinion, the greatest one-day century, 175 not out at Tunbridge Wells. And also, I think, kind of inspiring. I mean, a lot of the players we have mentioned here who've subsequently gone on to represent India with distinction were inspired by that victory. He just changed the face of Indian cricket through his deeds and I think also his captaincy. A lot of things, people don't give him enough credit for. They say he was instinctive, he was impulsive, he was this, he was that, he was not a thinker. But remember, before that, India had won nothing. And after that, India have won so many other things. So clearly there's some contribution that you must give credit to Kapil Dev for.
Okay. So we've heard various views. There are some common players in all, as is to be expected. Let me give you my all-time India 11 in ODI cricket. I start with Rohit Sharma at the top. I go then with Virender Sehwag. I believe Virender Sehwag was a player who had the kind of impact that very few other players have had. Just think of Rohit Sharma and Virender Sehwag at the top. I've got Virat Kohli at number 3. He is the greatest ODI batsman in my view across generations. At number 4, I've got Sachin Tendulkar. I don't have Tendulkar opening. I believe Tendulkar, at the end of the day, can bat anywhere in any team, but he has to be in the team. At number 5, I have Yuvraj Singh. I believe Yuvraj Singh was the X factor, the kind of player who made the impact on ODI games, was the man of the tournament, remember, 2011. At number 6, I have Mohinder Amarnath. Again, for some, he may be a surprise choice, but he is just the kind of calming influence you want at number 6. At number 7, Kapil Dev da jawab nahi. He has to be in any Indian all-time ODI 11. I've chosen Mahendra Singh Dhoni. as the wicketkeeper and the captain. I believe he just edges out Rohit Sharma quite simply because I think Dhoni handled pressure better than any other Indian cricketer that I have seen. At number 9, I have Ravindra Jadeja. I believe Jadeja brings genuine skills both as a batsman, bowler and fielder. He's my left-arm spinner assured with his 10 overs. Then I have Zahir Khan. I've chosen Zahir Khan because if you look at his bowling average, he gives less than 5 runs an over. He could bowl with the new ball and he could bowl in the middle over. And number 11, I've got Jasprit Bumrah, who for me is going to be a complete all-time great when it comes to both red ball and white ball. I also have Harbhajan Singh because I chose 12. If the game is played in India, I choose Harbhajan. If it's played in England, for example, I would choose a Mohinder Amarnath. Harbhajan Singh too was a very, very skillful cricketer. So that's my 12. Shishir has chosen his. Ayaz has chosen his.
I'm sorry, Rajdeep. I need a rap on the knuckle for forgetting Jasprit Bumrah, but it's just the nature of the game. He's unfit.
Okay.
I didn't know about his fitness.
Okay, no, I'll give you that. Also, remember, he didn't win a World Cup as yet. He's won a World T20. But we made an exception for him. We made an exception for him because he's just won a World Championship 6 months ago. So that's my 11. You're bringing in Jasprit Bumrah. Fair enough. I think we can dispute who should be captain. The interesting thing is Shishir chose Rohit Sharma. Ayaz has chosen Kapil Dev. And I have chosen Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So at least when it comes to captains, we've chosen 3 very different cricketers as their captains. Either way, it's fascinating. And you too can decide on your all-time ODI 11. Thank you very much, Shishir Ayaz, for joining me. The fact check of the day: did Indian pacer Mohammad Shami release a video apologizing to Muslims amidst the controversy over his not fasting during Ramzan, claiming he was forced to break Roza during a Champions Trophy match? A viral video circulating on social media featuring Shami in a skull cap and kurta suggested he did just that. Here's what the India Today fact check found out.
You are watching Fact Check segment where we bust fake news. Did Indian pacer Mohammad Shami release a video apologizing to Muslims amid the controversy over fasting, claiming he was forced to break Roza during a Champions Trophy match? A viral video circulating on social media, featuring Shami in a skull cap and kurta, allegedly suggests just that. India Today Fact Check found that this video was edited. The original video, shared back in April 2024, showed Mohammad Shami wishing everyone a happy Eid. This fact check on viral fake news is done by India Today's team Afa. This is AI Sana signing off.
Time for me also to sign off. Just about enough time to leave you with our image of the day, a breathtaking painting by street artist Puri Arts from Kuppam in Andhra Pradesh is going viral on social media. The artwork beautifully celebrates India's ICC Champions Trophy victory, showcasing the bond between cricketers Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, capturing their camaraderie both on and off the field. That's our image of the day. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.